Hey, it's me, Russ Riba, and this is Baseball Ready, the podcast. And if you saw the first segment or first half of this episode, you knew we needed to break it up into two episodes. So this is the second segment, and this is where we're going to talk about cheating in youth baseball. This is the bottom of the second, and enjoy. Hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Make sure you listen on YouTube. No, make sure you watch on YouTube, and then you can listen on all of the other platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcast and iHeartRadio and all that good stuff. Let's get into it. Oh, we can't start without the riddle, the baseball pun, the dad joke. So we'll start with that before we move on. Why do batters seem to always look comfortable? They do, don't they? That answer is coming up.
This is Baseball Ready, the podcast.
So we talked about some tactics in loophole baseball. Cheating. This is where things start to get a little wonky. Some of the bullet points I have here regarding cheating is illegal bats. Now, some of these tactics that I'm about to explain are not necessarily illegal, but in some cases, it's ruled that you cannot have a. It's considered an illegal bat. So let me just explain to you. Shaving, and I'm not talking about what I need to do to get rid of this gray hair. Let me grab a bat here. All right, shaving a bat. So you've got this bat here. This is a BB core bat. This is the process of. Usually you'll find somebody that actually does this. You're not going to do this at home, or it's just going to be awful. You take the cap off. You remove the cap carefully with the idea that you're going to put it back on as tight as you can, and then there's going to be that hollow center of the barrel, and you take some kind of drilling device, like some kind of Dremel or whatever it is that particular person uses, and you remove a portion of the inner wall of the baseball bat or the softball bat to increase its trampoline effect, the rebound, the bounce off of this. So the thicker this is, the more dead the hit's going to be. So if you thin out the inner walls where you can't see that it's been manipulated, you thin out the inner walls, you get all the shavings out, you get the cap back on, and then you have a bat that is probably going to not be under warranty anymore, because one of the things is you've got to keep that bat under warranty, because a lot of these bats break within months, and you get one free replacement. But the thinner the walls are of the barrel, the more trampoline effect you're going to get, the more bounce off, the farther the hit is going to go, and it can really be advantageous. But it's like, come on. Hit the ball organically, will you? If you need that kind of advantage, then you're doing something wrong as a coach, or you're drafting the wrong kids, or whatever the case may be, or you're just trying to get an advantage that other kids are not going to get, because you guys are not playing on the same playing field. It's not an even playing field, because some of the bats are shaved. How about rolling bats? Rolling bats is done for composite bats. I'll be right back. Let me grab this bat. This is a composite bat, and you have these machine rollers. Usually it's a triple roller. You'll have three rollers, and you put the bat and you roll it. Sometimes they're called hot rolling, and by doing this, it speeds up the break-in process of the bat, because the bat is composite, and the compression of the rollers, it loosens up the fibers of the composite material, and it breaks it in quicker, making it more pliable. giving it, once again, more trampoline effect. You're going to get more bounce off the bat. The ball is going to go further. Unauthorized bats. So certain leagues, certain divisions, certain levels of baseball require certain bats. For a while, you would have to have a bat that was approved for, I'm talking about Little League or rec baseball, you would have to have a bat that is approved for Little League, Dixie League, Ripken. Then Little League switched to their own thing where it had to be a USA bat, a bat that had the USA stamp on it. This is the USA stamp right here. And if the bat didn't have a USA stamp, it was not legal to play in a Little League game or tournament, unless you could use a USA bat or a wood bat. So you've got USA, that's the one that's approved for Little League. You've got USSSA. USSSA are the bats that are used in travel games. You've got wood. Wood is pretty much acceptable in most leagues. And then you've got BB Core, which is designed for high school and collegiate. Here's a BB Core. This bat that I used the example of shaving, this is a BB Core bat. It's used also in Little League, starting at the 50-70 intermediate level, and then in juniors and seniors, and in high school, and in college. All right, a bat that does not meet the specifications and standards set by baseball and softball governing bodies, making it ineligible for use in official games. That's when the coach tries to sneak in, or the kid tries to sneak in a bat, or a travel bat in a Little League game, or a bat that's been banned. And when that happens, it's considered cheating. So oftentimes, I know I've been an umpire for a while, and I do a lot of youth games. And it used to be the umpires would, before a Little League game, the umpires would say, "Hey, coaches, get your bats and helmets on the other side of the fence, line them up." And one of the umpires would go to one side, and one would go to the other, and we would just make sure all of the bats are legal for that game. In the case of Little League, make sure they're all USA bats. Why would we check the helmets? Because if the helmets were falling apart, or some of the padding was coming out, we would make sure that they're not used in the game for safety purposes. So that's what we would do. Now it's up to from what I understand, I just umpired a Little League all-star game, and I was told before the game starts that you don't say anything about the bats. You don't charge the coach with any kind of penalties. The other coach has to appeal it. So the other coach would have to say, "Hey, Blue, can you check that bat and make sure it's a legal bat for the game?" In that case, if we check it and it's not legal, then the coach can be reprimanded. The coach can be thrown out. Let's go to Pine Tar real quick, because there were some situations in some all-star games for Little League, and it must be some a fad that has grown lately, where the kids are putting pine tar on their USA bats. So, for instance, this is a USA bat. It's legal for Little League, or even a BB Core bat, and instead of having the grip, they would put pine tar on it, and pine tar is illegal in Little League. So during some of these games, you would see before the game starts, the coach or the kid is scraping the pine tar off, because it has to be legal for the tournament. And in some cases, I had seen a coach and the kid got thrown out of the game, and got thrown where they couldn't participate in the next game as well. So you got to check your Little League book, or whatever the rule book is for that particular tournament, to make sure everything is on the up and up. All right, another cheating tactic is non-rostered players. You see it all the time, especially in travel. How many times have you had one of the parents say, it's a 12U game, and it's like, oh, this kid drove himself. In a lot of these tournaments, you may think that the players are non-rostered, but they are. It might be by graduation year, and they were held back 1, 2, 3 years sometimes, so they can be ultra competitive in sports. But there are often times where, you've got a kid, that plays in a whole other division, and he ends up on the field like a kid that's a 10U player that ends up playing in an 8U game. You just throw on a jersey and say he's part of the team and try to sneak it through. A lot of times, especially now with social media, people know who these kids are. They've seen them out and about at games, and let me tell you, that's getting harder and harder to slip by, and it can be challenged, and you could end up forfeiting a game by cheating with unrostered players. Pitch count rules, that's another means that oftentimes it's not intentional, but it's against the rules. And you might have a kid that in Little League, let's say he's eligible to pitch a maximum of 75 pitches, and this kid's like up at 85, approaching 90. First of all, I call that child abuse. I don't care if it's allowed that you can pitch up to 75 pitches. If that's the case and the kid is good and and the parents are okay with it, then yeah, let him pitch, but pull him out when he reaches that max. Or better yet, if he's maxed at 75, or that's the eligibility, pull him out at 60. Be conservative. Don't let this kid end up being a 14-year-old that gets Tommy John surgery. It's just not right. It's not right, and oftentimes the parents don't even understand the importance of pitch counts. And it's not, I don't care what you say, you're dealing with minors here. It's not up to what the rule book says as far as max pitch count is 75, but that doesn't mean you have to go 75. It's not up to the coach. There's a lot of parents that say, I leave it to the coach. No, your child is a minor. It's your child's arm. If max pitches allowed by the rule book are 75 and your max is 55 or 60, let the coach know. I would say 90% of the time I have told coaches, let's cap them at 65. They have always respected it. If you have a coach that doesn't respect your pitch count max, then you need to find another coach or another team, or you need to put your foot down. So, and it gives an unfair advantage when coaches do this, when they're going above and beyond the allowed pitches, because they might be out of pitching, and this is the last kid that can throw strikes. That's another reason. So you're blowing out a kid's arm, and you're doing it so you can try to hang in the game because you don't have any other pitching. Not cool. All right, and then you have biased umpires. Home cooking. Oftentimes, there are biased umpires. My wife always says an umpire should never decide the outcome of a game. With that, you do have some umpires that favor one team over the other, and sometimes it's just a little obvious. Sometimes it's obvious. There was a game that on Game Changer we had to say we lost, but darn it, we won that game. We were up 7-6, and we were on defense. The other team was up. If they got 2 runs in, that's it. First run would be a tie. The second one would be a walk-off. We had runners, I think, on first and second, 2 outs. We had 2 strikes on the kid. All we needed was 1 more. That ends the game. We win. There was a pitch that was thrown middle. So a little bit of a curveball, and it landed middle. Umpire called it a ball. We ended up losing that game. Not even time. We ended up losing that game. Everybody knew that that was the final strike to end the game and we would win. So in my book, that was a win. All right. And then you have umpires that hate coaches, and they're going to do everything they can because they, get squirrely on each other in games, and it's like, oh no, we got this umpire. This better not be a close game, or we're done for. All right, let's wrap this baby up in a nice, tight little bow and answer that awesome riddle, the baseball pun. Why do batters seem to always look so comfortable? Because they feel right at home. All right, let's get down to the baseline. This is my takeaway. Cheating. I'm reading now, so my eyes are not going to be right on you. Cheating is a part of life. It doesn't make it right. But in youth sports, when you do it, condone it, encourage it, it makes you an awful coach, a despicable parent, a disgusting role model. These years are crucial. The youth age of sports, it's crucial in molding and developing your child or your players, if you're a coach, into decent human beings. Baseball is not just a game, it is a life lesson. I've seen coaches cheat in so many ways, and cheating all the way from coach pitch up through the higher levels, and it's despicable. I've seen some cases where the kids of those coaches, the coach's son, have absolutely lost every bit of respect for their dad because they know exactly what their dad as the coach is doing. Did those dads earn the disrespect? Probably so. Win at all costs does nothing for you as a coach except win you another plastic trophy. But the damage it does, you probably will never know unless you cheated your own child, because you're cheating with all of these kids that are going to go off, and you have no idea what kind of negative impact that can make on the kids that you're coaching. But you don't care. All you want is that plastic trophy. Cheating is not going to end these tournaments, or it's not going to end at these tournaments. It's always going to happen in travel, little league, in life. Cheating is going to happen. It just sucks for the team that organically earned the right to be on that field. If you ever come in second place against a team that cheated, well, that makes your team the champions.
Be sure to subscribe to keep listening to awesome episodes of Baseball Ready. You can see us on YouTube and listen on your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many more.